10 pounds on the camera.
To the biceps.
This is Here for the Health of It. I'm Dr. Randy. I'm here with Dr. Tom, as always. And we're over 100 episodes. This is big.
We're a big deal.
We have a special guest today, Ivan Paul.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank
yeah.
You. Thank you.
All right, so you own your own painting company.
Yes.
You have all kinds of different things that you're interested in, but I know the painting thing's your big thing.
Right.
You've owned, and it's OMNI 26.
Yes.
OMNI 26.
Yes.
And it's because it stands for omnipresent.
How'd you know?
I'm just guessing.
Yeah. Omni means all.
All.
Yeah. So
All 26.
Yeah. So I
And
came
that's
up
the
with
size
the
of his
name
biceps.
26 inches of your biceps.
Or his tires.
Let's see. Give a little
Yeah.
flex. Can we get a flex right off the bat?
Just a little something
Yeah,
for the
that was-
ladies.
I would say
Basic.
like 20. Have you measured your biceps?
Nah.
No, I would guess 23.
They're not big enough to do that yet.
Well,
It's-
before you leave,
It's,
we'll
we'll
before you
figure
leave,
that out.
probably
We'll
measure
post that for everybody listening in the show notes.
Yeah, but omni means all. Like it comes from like the God thing, like omnipresent.
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm omnipresent, but
Oh.
I came up with the name at age 26. So omni stands for I want to know all things dealing with painting.
Okay.
So from there.
That's
good.
Do you know what's wild is this morning I was doing, my kids they're in a homeschool co-op, so part of it's homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning we were doing our Bible study part, and it was all about the word omnipresent and different
Wow.
meanings
Today?
and what it means. This morning.
Dang.
And it wasn't me that decided it. It was just like, pull it
God's
up, and this
will.
is her homework. I know, which I haven't used that word or heard that word.
Yeah.
For, it's not something you use every day.
Right.
Well, you do, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily. So at 26, you decided this is your name for your painting company.
Yeah, if you go on my website, you will see it say Omni Luxury Finishes.
Okay.
So I'm going to change it eventually to that, but on paper, as far as like the EIN and everything,
Yeah.
it's Omni 26
Yeah.
LLC.
You love the word luxury.
Yeah.
Walk us through that. How'd you decide on that?
So skipping past a lot of stories, I used to work for a paint company called the McNeely Brothers. And they deal with nothing but luxury coatings, luxury houses.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically are the ones who kind of taught me how to position myself in these type of clients' houses. So I enjoyed it. But the people around me, they didn't. They didn't see like, why do we have to do it this way? It's like, you're in a different tax bracket. You're in a different
Right.
house. These people look at things differently. So I kind of took all those teachings into my company. And I only wanted to do those.
Yeah.
Of course, when you start off with a paint company, you're going to get the apartment buildings first, just painting shutters, garage doors. But I always see myself doing what they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my company kind of mimics theirs in a sense as far as like the quality control. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, and then you got to be really good too,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Because you want that. If the luxury price comes with, got to be
It's
detailed.
a pretty penny finish.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're dealing with Toms of the world who just
I
stand
walk around
behind.
with
They
blue tape.
literally just stand behind you, pointing at things.
Yeah.
I carry blue tape at all times in case I
But
find a
there's
problem.
ways of controlling that. There's ways. You gotta
How do you
figure 'em out.
control? How do you control
You
a
got to
Tom?
set the right.
So I actually have a contract for people like that.
Oh.
So usually, like when we're doing a gloss job, and there's different phases. There's usually 4 big phases. So in each phase, we bring you in, like people like Tom's and stuff like the blue tape, and we give you the blue tape. Can you
Nice.
find anything? Now I see exactly what you're looking for. What I'm looking for and what you're looking for is totally 2 different things. I'm aiming to go past you, but I just want to see what ants you like. Well, there's a little overspray right here, or like, what about this nick right here? We go ahead and get that out the way, so we know how to tailor to that customer. All right, Tom's this way, Sarah's that way, and then we just go forward. But we make you sign off after every phase. Like
That's
you
cool.
said, this was good, so now we know we're good. We can
Right.
keep moving on.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So Bradley, he's like a podcaster business guy, but he always says, you can either have it done well, you can have it cheap, or you can have it fast.
Yeah.
But you only get 2 of those.
Yeah.
So if you want it done well and you want it done fast, it's not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
If you want it done cheap and you want to be done well, it's not going to be fast.
Right.
And it was such an interesting thing when I was listening to it, and I think you talked about that too a fair amount.
good.
And I was like, it makes so much sense because that's how it works. If you
Yeah.
want it done perfectly, it's going to take longer than if
It's
you
just
just
gonna-
want something sprayed on.
Yeah. Because People are looking for the quality. You're not going to be like, Ivan did it so fast. No, Ivan did a great job.
Right.
You know, but it's more the experience that was left with you. So
Yep. I decided several years ago, one thing I will never be cheap on is the quality of paint that's used, no matter what.
what happened?
Exactly.
It was so every time that I would paint or do something, if the quality of paint wasn't good, it would take three more coats to get it to look good.
Yeah.
And then I got premium stuff, and I was like, wow, this stuff looks good after 2 coats instead of 4 coats. So
Right.
you're paying way more, but you're doing less work, and it looks better at the end.
Yeah. 4 coats of paint. That's some cheap paint.
Cheap. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Well, there's
yeah,
a big
yeah.
difference, right? If you walk into Lowe's,
a lot of work,
there's a 50% difference from the lowest to the highest cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too. Like, if you don't mind me mentioning, Home Depot's paint, like Lowe's paint, Sharon Williams paint. There's different qualities of paint, but this may sound weird. I don't think no one has ever smelled or applied real paint. Sounds crazy, right?
What?
Yeah. So there's a paint company that I use. It's called Fine Paints of Europe.
Okay.
And all the paint is imported from Holland, from the Netherlands. This is where paint originated from.
What?
Yes. So all
We got to fact check that because this is sounding wild.
This
Yeah,
is
I can-
OMNI painting right now.
Holy cow.
yeah, you can fact check. I can tell you to
Holland
the owner and
started
everything.
paint.
Yeah, I didn't believe it. I did not believe it at first because as I stumbled upon this paint company, I used to see all this shiny paint. I'm like, what are they getting this paint from?
Yeah.
And I looked into it, and the owner explained it's called Viginal Paint. And Viginal Paint is made in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And basically, they partner up with some people from America, and they label their brand as Fine Paints of Europe. So
Okay.
that paint is imported from Holland up to Vermont and dispersed to all of America.
What makes it different? What's the secret?
So let's say you have Home Depot's paint, Sharon Williams paint, and
Yep.
you have their paint.
Yep.
Let's say this is pure paint out of a can. They take a quarter of that, put it in there, and add straight fillers. It's still good paint,
Gotcha.
but until you mess with the real thing, it doesn't even react the same way.
Wow.
When you brush it out, when you brush out their wall paint, Eurolux, it's like brushing out suede.
Really?
It literally is. It's like porcelain on the walls, and same thing with the oil paint and everything like that. I had to relearn how to use paint over when I jumped into it. It's a whole nother field, and I run into a lot of painters like, I've been painting for 40 years, and then when they come on the job and I hire them, to do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
job, it's a lot of questions that I got. Like, what is going on
what
with
is
this
it?
paint? I was like, oh yeah, you didn't know, right? Like, of course you didn't, but
Real paint. They've
real-
never used real paint.
I promise you.
Yeah.
What about the brushes? Are those real
Yeah, those
brushes?
are real
at
brushes.
Lowe's?
There's real. There's a certification like for the Fine Paints of Europe. Like you have to like the owner, his name is John Leahy. You look him up on Instagram, Fine
Yeah.
Paints of Europe, and they actually go and visit to these sites. Like they come out, reach out to the clients. Like, how did Ivan do? Like, can we come by, have dinner? Can we see how it looks?
No way.
Yeah, you can get your
That's luxury.
certification snatched by not doing great jobs in customer service. So it's really serious.
Are there any commercial brands that use that paint, like a Ritz Carlton or something, or are they still just Sherwood Williams?
I'm not sure about commercial. Probably up north.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's mainly really used up north. It's starting to get popular in Charlotte and Miami and stuff, but mainly out in New York and like Connecticut, New Jersey,
Sure.
New York. So that's exactly where, if you want to see it, just go online and type in Fine Paints of Europe.
Now it still has different sheens though, like gloss and satin and eggshell, or is it just one deal?
So with the gloss, it's just satin and gloss. They used to have an eggshell, but
Yeah.
they didn't see much use for it, so they got rid of it. But as far as the wall paint, it's just matte and flat. Yeah, flat and matte.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the different sheens because I've never known what to do.
Yeah.
I'm assuming ceilings should be flat
Absolutely.
always.
Yeah.
Is
They're
there ever
absolutely
is there ever a time when you wouldn't do a flat ceiling?
Yeah, if you want a gloss ceiling, or like if you have certain designers that's going for a certain like funky look,
Yeah.
they may say like, oh, I want the ceiling to be semi-gloss. Ugly choice, but
Yeah.
that's after they do everything, the design, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's not something I'll put in my house, but but it looks good
Yep.
for the idea.
And then how did the other ones work? Like gloss in the bathroom?
I mean, In some
Semi-gloss,
houses, some
maybe.
people got like a mirror finish in their bathroom. I guess they want to look up and see themselves on the toilet. I never really, I think about it, but I never question them because I've been in situations where I apply logic and then it goes left.
Right.
So if you want a dark green kitchen with a navy blue mirror finish ceiling, then that's what we're going to do.
That sounds like
I
exactly what
love
Randy
that.
would
I
want.
would.
Yeah.
That does sound nice, actually.
Yeah. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, hey, it looks good, right? This is what you wanted.
I mean, I don't know. I decided a long time ago that color matching is just not my thing.
Yeah.
So I just pretty much defer out.
Yeah. Sometimes I help people out, like the older people.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like I just, whatever looks good to you, but I still let them sign. I have a sheet where they sign off on the colors.
To make sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So I guess with walls then that's typically what sheen just if you're going across the board, if you could only pick one sheen so ceilings is flat, what do we recommend for walls?
Typically eggshell or satin.
Eggshell or satin?
Yeah.
And then what about exterior paint? Like if you're painting brick, what do you do there?
Typically, that's a flat sheen. You use like products like Loxon XP from Sharon Williams. A lot of masonry stuff like that, like stucco. You can use that product on stucco. They use that a lot in Miami, Arizona, like dry places,
Right.
humid places.
And then what are other paint secrets that you know? Because I feel like we just learned that we're not using real paint. What else you got up your sleeve?
The biggest lie in painting is paint and primer in one. When it comes to
Oh,
it,
you don't like the combo.
No, it's not unlike it doesn't exist. It's a marketing scheme. Wow. It's a marketing scheme. Think about it. If we have drywall,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Drywall typically has to be primed to seal the drywall for the paint to stick on.
Yeah.
Why not just get rid of primer and just use paint primer in once? It's just the same thing.
Right.
But yet when you go there, they tell you to what? Make sure you prime the wall first. Then what's the primer for?
Right.
Because primer doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stick. It just means it's sealing off something.
What's the difference between primer and paint then?
Yeah, I always
What's-
thought primer was just cheap because you're not going to see it. It's just going to seal the wall.
Primer is like, they're not getting nerdy with it. It's just a substance used to seal off something that's porous. Something it's prepping something for the paint. Like for instance, you got oil-based paint. It does the same thing. It seals off, it covers up, but it's preparing for the chemicals that's existing in the finish that's laying on it. You cannot put oil-based paint over a water-based finish. You have to put an oil-based primer over it and then apply with an oil-based finish. So that's why I said the paint primer is definitely a myth too.
Right.
All people who gets deep into it understands that. I mean, people say, "Oh, I want to get my own paint." I never let the client get the paint.
Oh, Randy would be pissed.
Yeah,
He loves
I just
buying
won't take the job. I just won't take
Yeah.
the job. And
I mean, I could be pushed around a little bit. I'd be fine with that.
it's just so many issues that go with it. Like
If you're confident enough, you can just push me around. You could convince me to do any color and any sheen and any type of paint.
that's like you doing the adjustments, right?
Yep.
No. Let me do the shoulder.
Right. That's
You
what.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right.
That's what. And I have people who are like, "Oh, do it this way," and I'm like, "I don't think that's gonna be the best way." And they're like, "No, do it this way." And when I was younger, I would do it. Sometimes I would do it their way that they were asking, and they would come back and complain, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
terrible. This isn't working." I'm like, "What? I'm doing what you asked me to do, and then
You
you're
know
complaining
the weird part
about it."
That is though, people want to buy the paint because they think that they're saving money,
Right.
but you're literally paying for everything.
Right.
So if you don't trust the person to buy all the paint, then that's the wrong contractor.
There are contractors that charge a fortune for paint.
Yeah, they lie.
They jack it up 30% or 40% than what it should cost for the paint, I think.
So you know Randy's move. We're getting into a little bit before the show. Is and see if this sound pretty normal. He goes to Lowe's or Home Depot into their sales section. So like somebody mistinted a paint, they
Yeah.
bring it back, they sell it for like pennies on the dollar because it's
Yeah.
random
Yeah,
colors.
instead of $280, it was like $41
Yeah.
for a 5-gallon bucket.
Wow.
So then he buys a handful of those. Doesn't matter the color, dumps them into one,
What?
and that's the color he chooses.
Oh man, you did that to the whole house?
I did it for the exterior. my old
The part
of
that
an old
everybody
house.
sees.
Man, the crazy part, you'll never be able to touch it up.
Oh, no, it was
Yeah, yeah.
impossible. No, it couldn't be
Yeah,
touched.
sell that house as it is.
Well, it's not quite as bad as it sounds, although it is.
Okay, yeah.
It is.
It's pretty wild. Though.
But I knew it was going to need 2 or 3 coats. So I was like, well, my first coat is going to be the primer. I'm just going to dump it all together, spray it all on there, and then I'm going to paint it whatever color I actually should after.
Yeah.
And it was a yellow, and it was a few different ones, so it came out like a green color.
Like
And
cute.
Yeah, let me get some blue is in there too.
I-
'Cause blue and yellow makes
I don't-
green.
Well, yeah, but it was already
Yeah,
there was
they're
already a
colors.
green. I think it was like a darker green and a yellow, so it came out as like a lighter green.
Okay.
But then I had this. It was a big thing in the community because I had some neighbors who loved it. They're like, "That's the most beautiful color. I've never seen that before. Where did you get that? What kind of color is it?" And then I had other neighbors being like, "That's so gross. I hope you paint over that immediately because I'm furious that you would
Right,
do that
right.
in your neighborhood." And then I just, I did ended up painting over it gray.
had to.
I think I went with like
Yeah.
a light gray color,
Gray
and it
over
looked
gray.
and it looked good and it was fine. But I didn't have to prime it. I just
Yeah.
put the gray over it.
It's 5 years probably on that paint project.
Maybe I don't know. I
How long has it been?
I ended up selling it.
Oh, you did?
but it
Okay.
still looks good.
I bet they're right now like what in the world's going on?
There's a little
Like,
piece of gray chipping off. They're like, what was underneath this thing?
Now, how often should you paint? Like if
Um,
if he throws on a fret, like, so exterior paint, I guess, is the main thing that probably people
Good
repaint.
question.
It all depends on how dangerous you are inside your house. Like if you're a pretty clean person, the dogs don't scratch up the walls.
Yep.
Children don't take magic markers over the walls. I'm pretty sure you can get like a good solid. I would say every 6 years, do like a good repaint if you're not changing colors. Exteriors typically last 4 to 5 years, depending on where you're located at. But once again, back to the fine paints, their exterior paint is the same that they use in the inside. And they have houses that were done in like 2000, and they come back and visit, and it's no fading.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's no fading.
That
And
was
is that-
real paint then.
Real paint.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, does sun? I mean, I feel like sun plays a big role in that, right?
Sun,
Any sort of
weather. Like you go to Florida, it's very humid, a lot of moisture in the air.
Right.
That's why a lot of the houses have stucco on it. But usually it cracks and then moisture gets in it
Yeah.
and it starts chipping off.
Yep.
You'll see a lot of like you ever been on Lake Murray?
Yep.
A lot of the houses have stucco on it because it's on the lake. Versus them doing a lot of brick and stuff like that, they want to seal it off. But once it gets damaged, you're in the line for work.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's hit on touch-ups. I feel like touch-ups never blend. Like say even you put a hole in the wall, you put the drywall over it, and you got this like just quarter-size little area.
Yeah.
And you take the same paint and you put it on there, you can still see it's a touch-up. Is there anything that
Yeah.
without painting the whole freaking wall?
Yeah. So typically, if you only did one coat, the touch up is not going to touch up. Even if you did a solid, like nothing's bleeding through.
Yeah.
That's because each time you put a coat of paint on, it is aiming for the real hue. Does that make sense?
So the more coat you put on, the closer it gets
Yeah.
to the hue.
So let's say you
That
have
makes
like
sense.
Chicago Bulls red.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
put a coat of Chicago Bulls red on the wall and there's no bleed through. It's still not to the chips color. You have to
Oh.
do 2 coats to get a full color. So if you go back and you take like a little dab or something like that,
Yeah.
it's going to show obviously.
Right.
And the more sheen in the paint, the more obvious it's going to see.
Gotcha.
So flats are easy to touch up. In new construction, it's an issue because you know how you mixed all the paint in?
right, right.
They have a thing where they dupe the customer. They make like large quantities of these paint, these 5-gallon buckets.
yeah.
But it's really primer. It's not paint. It's literally primer. If you go to a new construction house and you put your hand on the wall, it's dry.
Yeah.
There's no sheen in it.
Yeah.
That is primer.
Ah.
It's either
Is
gonna
that
be-
what leaves like dust too sometimes?
Yes.
Like when you lean up against it and like you get dust.
And your oils on your hands.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
gets messed up. But then you call them like, hey, like, do you have any touch-up paint? Oh, no, we don't. Like, y'all don't have extra? No, because we make them in batches and we never make that same batch again. So now you're stuck. Now you got to call Ivan or someone else to come repaint the house.
That's right. OMNI 26.
Yeah.
All-knowing painter.
Yeah.
So let's talk about color a little bit. What's hot right now? Because I'm looking at all these white brick houses that are getting painted.
I feel like gray's kind of on its way out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sick of gray.
Yeah.
Honestly, I painted. I can't even tell how many houses I painted agreeable gray.
Like this gray right here.
Yeah, like just gray. I think
Yeah.
a little bit colors are coming back. Not like 70s colors, but like more like dark greens
Yeah.
in certain areas. Blues are getting popular.
I feel like darks, like black. I love that.
You want a black room?
I do. I mean, what? Is that weird?
Yeah.
I mean, I let
You'd be
there's
in a
something
black house
about
then,
yeah.
right?
There's something about like I like all black or I like all white too, because anything you put on it, it kind of hides the wall and it makes everything else stand out.
It's gonna make everything smaller too.
The
darker
black
color,
does.
the smaller the room.
Is that why white? So white would be the opposite then, right? White's kind of what, and
Might
that's
seem bigger.
it seems like a lot of designers use a lot of just different shades of white. Yeah,
It gets confusing too because there's like hundreds of whites.
right.
Like white is snowbound.
Snowbound's hot right now. I've
Yeah.
heard about Snowbound. I don't know a lot of paint colors, but Snowbound I know about.
Yeah, I'm messing with snowbound right now actually.
All right.
Yeah.
On an exterior of a house?
Not cabinets.
Cabinets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cabinets.
What about, do you feel like the exterior white house is going to go out of style? Is it going to be weird when we look at it in 10 years?
No, I think it's going to be more. If you look at like the new construction now, where they're making these, I'm not sure what kind of general contractor is building these, but it seems like they have like certain models. Like, okay, we're gonna do a white brick house, but we're gonna do a metal roof.
Yep.
You see those a lot of metal roofs
Yes,
coming
I've
back.
seen
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like a '60s thing.
Yeah.
But people want the metal roofs. Some
Yeah.
people
Black,
want copper.
white, wood. That's that's all looking good though.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go away no time soon.
I thought maybe it would be a phase, but then we went and golfed in Indianapolis, and there was all these brand new houses on this nice place, like the big houses. They're all white brick with
Yeah.
black trim. So I felt like, all right, if they're building them right now, we've at least got another 5 or 10 years
Yeah.
before they're really out of style.
I just hope they never bring back popcorn ceiling.
It's so terrible.
It's disgusting.
And it was loaded with asbestos.
Yeah,
like who
right?
thought that was going to be great? Let's load your ceiling with asbestos.
Why was that a thing? I don't even get it.
I don't know why they put the asbestos in it. Why don't they just put herpes in it? You know what
It
I'm
was
saying?
an-
It's like let's put a dangerous chemical that kills people. But in the 70s, I think that's where it appeared. And basically, from what I heard from older people, they said that they were just lazy. They was like, we're building all these houses. How can we cut the cost of money from charging people to paint ceilings? They're like, oh, why don't we just take a bunch of this stuff called popcorn ceiling and just spray it on
it
there?
everywhere.
They just spray it on there.
That makes sense.
Keep it moving.
Have you ever painted over wallpaper?
No.
You don't recommend that.
Nah, that's
What do you
terrible.
do then? So say somebody has wallpaper that you're not getting off.
I'm going to sand it down to the drywall.
Really?
And then I'm going to oil prime it.
So sand the whole wall.
If it can't come off,
Yeah.
then you have no choice but to sand it down.
Is that time? That's time consuming,
consuming.
right? What kind of sander are you using? Like just one of the
I
orbital
use
deals?
I use Festool dustless sanding.
Okay.
It's a German product
I
that
love the overseas.
they make the best stuff.
Wow.
Just think about theory, like over history, they always make the best stuff.
Yeah.
It's a German made product, and anything that you sand, it sucks and go into a dust extractor.
Nice. So you don't have to
So-
breathe it in or make a mess. Well, all right. Now you said you do oil. So talk to us about oil versus latex. I feel like people only paint with latex generally. Do you use oil?
Yeah, I use. Well, in my line of work, gloss is all oil.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, like all those glossy finishes that you
Yeah.
see on my website, those are all oil-based products. So the sad part about it, they're eventually about to get rid of oil soon. Like it's outlawed in certain states. Like I don't think in California you can use it. They don't even allow you to use paint thinner in certain states now.
For environmental reasons.
Yeah, for environmental reasons. I don't think it's going to leave from up north too soon because there's a lot of market up there. But I can see Charlotte probably in 20 years, like, nah, we're not doing this oil no more.
Is it easier to work with, or what would be the reason?
It's more
Just
durable. It's
durable?
Yeah.
And it gives a better gloss.
Yeah,
Or
like oil typically out of my line of work is applied on like substrates like doors, mantles,
Yeah.
metal,
Metal.
handrails, metal.
Yeah.
It's a more durable product than a water base. But the funny thing is when you venture off into the cabinet world and you get cabinet finishes, water-based finishes are actually kind of surpassing oil.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of weird. But once again, Renner, Ilva, these are all like Italian-based companies. So I feel like eventually, I might have to alter my company to like work with more water-based. But for right now, then I'm just using, as far as the gloss walls oil and stuff.
What's your favorite kind of sprayer?
I would say air-assisted airless sprayer.
Air assisted airless.
Yeah. That means you can switch back and forth. So it's an airless sprayer obviously doesn't use air, it uses a piston drove pump. But
Gotcha.
an air assisted is where you can cut off a valve and you're able to use some type of compressor that can atomize the paint way more finer for certain finishes.
Gotcha.
That's my favorite one.
Are you spraying most of the work you're doing, or are you doing a lot of by hand?
Primer, I spray for gloss. As far as the finish, I only brush it. So
Brush, not even roll?
Nah.
What?
Yeah, so
Like
that's
a wall like this, you would brush.
yeah, like if you those mirror walls, like where you see my shoes in the reflection, that's a brush finish.
How?
I know. People don't believe me, so I make videos and show people I'm doing it.
yeah.
It's the way you mix it, type of brush that you use. Some other secrets I can't give away too, but
So the quality of the brush is a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you buy those in America?
Yeah. Corona brushes, minus the 19, but
Now do you use a different brush? Like do you reuse your brushes a lot?
not for gloss. One and
Really?
done.
One and done. You
One
should
and
almost
done.
put it in a case and send it to or give it to the person you painted for. Almost like a trophy.
That'd be kind of weird though. Like you couldn't give me a gift
If it wasn't so
card.
weird, he would do that.
Yeah.
I have finished painting and I just wanted to
Save
I
this
might
for
try
you.
it one day
I'm
just
gonna-
to see what it
Yeah,
paint.
put it in like a little glass box or something.
But the reason why it's one and done, because with American oil, it's okay because it doesn't have a 98 sheen in it. 98 sheen is like one step below a car finish. So you know how glossy a car
Yeah.
looks. So it leaves dust particles and other fragments from in the air.
Oh yeah.
So once you clean that brush off and it's just sitting there, those little things go all into those filaments.
Yeah.
And when you dip it into that bucket, you brush it, you're gonna see all of it.
Dang.
And the whole gallon is ruined. There's no way you can get the lint out.
Really?
Impossible. It's $180 a gallon,
Oh.
2.5 liters. Wow. So after a few of those mistakes, you stop making those, like
Right. And now, how are you getting paint? Excuse me. The podcast biz. You got to make sure your throat's clear before you
yeah,
speak.
absolutely.
How are you getting paint off your body? And do you get a lot on your body?
Now this is where people are like, you are crazy. All right, so there's yeah, I get once it's like, you do what? Like so if shellac, like this type of primer,
Yep.
it only comes off by denatured alcohol. Unless you wash your body at least 10 times, it doesn't come off.
No way.
So I take a little bit of denatured alcohol to get it off the skin. I know that's not healthy at all, period.
You're just sacrificing your body out
Yeah,
there.
it's just like
But you
painters
got to be
painters are
wearing
weird. Like,
you got to be wearing long sleeves, long
yeah,
pants.
yeah. I have what they call them, Tyvek suits when I'm spraying and stuff. But sometimes the oil, rests above the eyebrows, above the glasses.
Yeah.
You gotta take a little paint thinner and get it off real quick, because water doesn't take oil off.
Yeah.
Oil and water doesn't mix. It's the same thing. It's not like paint's different,
Right.
but
Well, that's what I was wondering because I see you don't have facial hair.
yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. So I've been told you can't trust a man without facial hair. Give me your thoughts on it. I mean, I didn't
why we
come
don't
up with
trust
that.
the government. Right?
They're too
Okay.
clean shaven.
Yeah. So there's the real reason why I don't have
You don't
facial
want to
hair.
get paint in it.
Nah, that's not it.
Oh.
So in our church, I preside. So
Now wait, when you use big words, you got to explain those.
I'm going to
If you
I'm going
finish
to-
your sentence and then come back and explain it.
in my church, I preside,
Yep.
meaning I'm the one leading the service as far as singing the songs. So what's recommended, it's not like a law, like, oh, everybody can have a beard. What's recommended is you have a clean, nice shaven face. And this is kind of seen throughout multiple industries, like even Carowinds. When I was working at Carowinds, you couldn't have facial hair.
Right. Military, big on all that.
Military.
Yeah.
So, but some people may think it's weird, but just look at the average places you go to. Some
Right.
people just don't allow it, but it's just recommended. When I stop presiding, I have a full beard just like you.
Yeah.
So
So you want it, but you're just disciplined.
I'm just disciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about a little mustache?
See, even the mustache too.
Really? Like I
Yeah.
could see with a nice
You know how
trimmed
hard that was?
mustache. Right.
Like the mustache, like then I look like a cop dog. Like just a mustache and a naked face.
oh,
You know?
That
a
is
while
a
to hear
cop
that.
vibe.
I thought he said I look like a cock.
Wow.
I was like, what? Yeah, cop. Cop. I got you.
Right.
So you're singing in front of how many people usually?
Usually like maybe 30 here.
30. And what's your go-to song? Like if you had to go do karaoke?
You going deep or high?
Nah, we actually have like our own like we have a book of like just different church songs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's
Like Taylor Swift?
yeah.
Would you be able to hit one of her, hit her notes?
No, that's why I'm glad we all sing in unity.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
because I do have to work on my voice. I cannot hit like the James Brown high pitches and
Right.
the Mariah Carey stuff. So I kind of seen it like a kind of a bass a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not finna do it right now though.
All right.
I can
No,
see
you don't
that-
have
I
to.
can
But
see
if you were
that
going to
voice
offer, I was going to let.
Nah.
And then I know you're also really into boxing.
Yes.
So if you were to, let's say that you had to fight a Tom, one after the other. So like he was coming at you,
You don't want
you'd
it.
knock him out one. And I don't know how long it would take you to knock him out. And then another one just came right away, and then another one
Like
came
another
right away.
Tom?
Yes. So it was just him
Over and
one
over.
after the other. How many do you think you could take out of him before? How many Toms could you take out before you either got fatigued or before you got a lucky punch or something?
If he gives me resistance, like any type of resistance, like this
Yeah.
is not working, then
Well,
after
what do
I
you mean
get him,
resist? What do you mean resist?
Like
Like,
I'm
he
a-
would just
Like I'm
he would just
nimble.
come at you.
No, I'm nimble.
I mean, but
Oh, you think he's quick?
Yeah.
I don't
You,
know.
thi-
about
you
quick,
don't
but we
think
can't
you don't think it would
underestimate
be
him.
you don't think
Don't
it would be like 5
underestimate.
seconds and over?
I think I make it at least 12 seconds.
Are you talking about actual round? You're not
Boxing.
talking about a street fight.
Street fight.
Oh,
Oh,
street
street
fight.
fight.
Holy.
I'm not talking boxing. I'm talking street fight.
Do you just start throwing? You don't throw haymakers in a street
like,
fight right
no,
away.
No, the way I fight a street person
would
is
you
the
do-
same way I fight someone in the ring. So it's gonna be a
Square
pretty serious situation.
Yeah.
I'm going full advantage. I don't know what you got going on.
Right. Because if
I
I'm
have to
throwing
get you out of
kicks,
there So
where
I'm
you
throwing
start,
kicks,
I know,
I might come
man.
up with a jumping kick.
You might underestimate your flexibility.
I'm gonna pay attention to your lower body though the whole time.
That's what you look at?
Yeah,
What is that?
I'm not worried about your fist. I'm worried
Really?
about like how quick are you moving on your feet.
Good point.
Because I'm a defensive fighter as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna come out swinging blades. Like my favorite fighters are Marvin Hagler and Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
one of the greatest switch hitters in the boxing and one of the greatest defensive fighters.
Floyd doesn't finish people.
He has 27 knockouts though. So at
Yeah,
one
I guess
point he
I haven't
did
seen-
finish.
Yeah, there was a point when he did.
Yeah.
So let me rephrase it a little bit.
Okay.
Every minute, a new Tom is coming out to fight you.
Okay.
So you have to finish the first. and
You
then-
have to. You ideally want to finish him in a minute, or else another Tom's coming out, and then it's 2-on-1.
Okay.
How many are you getting to before you go down?
I'm definitely getting the first one out of there. So by the time
Well, yeah,
the next one, if it's a new, no, like I have, if I, especially,
I think I would.
but think about it,
I
if
think
I,
I
don't
would
want
bet
two
on
of
you. I
them.
think I would bet on you for the one-on-one.
You don't want two of them.
But the second one, you think you might have a hard time with.
I don't know what he's coming. If it's a different
I'm
time,
screaming.
No,
not
it's
the
the
same
same
time.
distracting.
He's big energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like-
I'm moving.
He's
I think
scratching.
by
He's
the
biting.
fifth one, I think by the fifth one, if he's like I said, any resistance, let's say he's good.
And
But I'm still getting him out of there at a certain time before the other one gets there. I'm gonna eventually get tired, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
5.
probably.
That's
Probably
fine.
5. Do you agree with 5?
Cause I'm not in competition, like shape. I'm not camp shape, but I have a good 7 rounds in me for sure.
really. And what? Those are 2 minutes each.
Depends on how long you want to go. If you're sparring, typically 3, but
Dang.
So you get in the ring with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they're brand new. How many minutes do you like? What does that look like? Like, let's say that I showed up to your gym and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to take on Ivan."
first round figuring it out. I'm not even gonna really hit you like that unless you're just like trying to maul me. Then I have no choice but then like all right, let me get this guy out of here. He's
Yep.
looking for some blood. But if I see like you got some type of composure, like you're thinking about fighting, the first round I'm not coming at you like that hard. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm gonna figure you out. I'm gonna figure out like, are you even good? Like how's your jab? I might even take one of your hits. I
Just
want
to see how it feels.
Yeah, see how it feels. 'Cause I know I can.
That's a
take
masculine move.
Where do you take it?
it. Not in the gut for sure. I take a chin. I take a chin. Not like I'm like this. Like you know what I'm saying. But,
right.
like.
But
all
you
right,
would see him getting ready to punch you, and instead of moving out of the plate, the way, you just take it to the chin.
It's all in the shoulders and the hips. It's not the
Rotation.
hands. Yeah. Notice that like when boxers like when they square with the leg, they're trying not to do too much head movement. As far
Right.
as like this, like they kind of stay there because they're
Yeah.
visualizing a certain part of your body. They're not worried about these hands for part's sake,
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, if you go look at some
Randy's
of the
never
interviews,
been
like
in a
Mike
fight.
Tyson explains like how he looks at someone in a fight.
So he's not looking at their hands. He's just looking mostly at their shoulders
Yeah, a
and their
good
body.
boxer doesn't have to focus on the fists. It's the body. The body gives away everything.
Right.
So it's like body language. When you're trying to read the room, like,
Yeah.
there's an argument in here. Like,
Okay.
So that's how that goes.
So if they take a punch, but they're not using much shoulder or hip, you know it's going to be a weak punch, so you're not worried about it.
Yeah. And then like body features give it away. Like if Tom has like football thighs,
Yeah.
like he might has a hard punch because all punch start from the ground coming up.
Okay.
Like he may not have.
How would you? All right,
Football
let's see.
thighs.
Have you looked at his thighs before?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think?
Smart.
How would you describe? How would you describe them?
that he has already.
I think.
I mean,
Tom,
what he has
would you call
already.
them football thighs?
Yeah.
No.
What's a better description for his thighs?
I guess Dr. Thighs. Like, work out 4 times
He sits
a week
in a
thighs.
chair a lot, takes notes, does case history thighs.
Nah, but like
That guy takes a lot of X-rays.
Those are case history thighs.
I used to do security, so I used to work the front. Like I'm not talking about like
So you got to profile people.
What kind of security?
like bouncing.
Really?
Yeah, I did that for like 4 years,
Wow.
off and on.
Nice.
And when we search somebody, I have to come down your arm, so I'm feeling everything, rubbing your back, I'm feeling your lats. I'm checking for weapons though. I'm not really worried about the weapon. I'm gonna find the weapon if you have it. I'm worried about when they call me in there, since I'm the one seeing everyone.
Yeah.
I know what this guy is kind of capable of. You're in a club, it's dark, you just see people coming in. You might get knocked out because you didn't know this guy has a big shirt on, but up under it, he looks like Bobby Lashley or Randy Orton or something like that. But I know.
Who they are.
So it's more like de-escalating. I've been in situations where I've seen people that are way bigger than me,
Yeah.
and they may think I'm coming to fight him
Right.
from afar. Like
Right.
everyone's watching me, but the whole time I'm talking this guy down. I know he's stronger than me. I can't physically remove him out
Right.
of this situation. It has to be another way to get you out of here.
Yeah. So what features would be the most scary? Like if they have small arms but big lats, are you more scared of that than small lats and big arms?
Muscular back, round shoulders, crazy hamstrings.
Cauliflower
Oh,
ear.
hamstrings?
Yeah, hamstrings.
What about
Yeah.
cauliflower ear? I don't mess with that.
Nah, I mean, yeah, you might be a wrestler. I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you could be a wrestler. You'd be in big trouble then, but
So how often did you find weapons on people?
a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what would
At
you
least
do
one
when
time.
what would you do when you found it?
Basically, we conversate, give it to the police.
Okay.
Or we may give them option like, hey man, can't come in tonight. Or I just take it back. No, I'm not gonna let you go back to the car
Right.
and put your gun in and bring in another weapon.
Right.
Because if you go in here and shoot somebody, it's not like, oh my God, this arresting. I'm like, who was the guy searching this man?
Yeah.
Now I'm done.
Did you have to carry a weapon then or no?
Nah.
You didn't. Dang.
We had a guy who was authorized
Ready,
to carry
yeah.
a weapon.
Yeah.
But
How about narrow shoulders? You're not worried about
nah,
narrow
no
shoulders.
Nate Diaz type of people.
So if they have narrow shoulders but big thighs.
Yeah, you just gotta think about it, like legs is a strength of handling something. Like You lift with your legs. You run with your legs.
I
It's
got
the
you.
strongest component. So if your legs are huge, nice, and healthy, he's able to get you a big man off of him as well. So it's not always just like, oh, he has a smaller upper body and large legs. Like some people are like that.
Yeah.
You got some people who are huge but can't squat. Like
I mean, I'm sure you've got so many stories. I want to hear another one.
yeah, it's I think the craziest story in bouncing was we was at a diner. It's called the Red Eye Diner, in the Epic Center in Charlotte, and we left the club around like 3 o'clock to go check on the guy who has been out of dress code. So when we got there, he was out of dress code. We was
What does that a dress code mean?
You, dude, at Cowboys
I
in
did.
Orlando.
One time I got shut down from Cowboys in Orlando. My very first time. So I'd never worn a V-neck shirt before.
wow.
But I kept being told, everyone's like, oh, you got a big chest. You'd look great in a V-neck.
Nobody told him that. Nobody.
I imagined people telling me that.
Yeah.
So I got a V-neck, and it was like a white V-neck. And I looked dynamite in it.
But it was all white.
Just white.
Right.
But just jeans and a white shirt.
Yeah.
And I go in, and there was 27 of us all going in together. It was a big seminar. So I get in there, and they stop me, and they say, sorry, those are gang colors. You're not allowed to come in.
Where were you located?
And I was like,
at?
it's in Orlando.
Yeah. At a
And I was
cowboy,
like-
at a country bar.
Yeah. And I was like, this is my first time wearing a white V-neck. How do I know what this is?
What year was this?
This was 2009, maybe. Yeah, late 2009.
I don't get that one.
I had to. So I ended up getting.
A tank top.
I had a.
Didn't you put
So
a
one of
tank
our
top
friends
on?
had a vest. It was a vest with a shirt on. So then I wore that vest over top of it to get in. And then when I went in there, I had to go to the DJ and say, like, I need a free shirt. It's like, you don't get a free. I was like, I'm getting kicked out of here for
So
my
a
white
V-neck.
V-neck.
and blue jeans is a
You
gang.
weren't allowed to wear
that's-
all white. Yeah, you weren't allowed to like wear.
Did they even
plain,
tell you the gang?
It just
what the
said
name
like
of it?
plain white T-shirt. They had a list of stuff you couldn't do, which was just it was weird.
I mean, in the early 2000s, I remember we couldn't wear white tall. You ever remember in
The
hip-hop
long ones.
Yes.
Yeah, that was associated with gang culture in a
Dude,
sense.
while we're on that, tell me about sagging pants. And I want to get back to your story too. That
Yes.
Randy interrupted.
Yes.
And I'm going to
and
continue
then you're
to
going to
interrupt.
continue to interrupt.
But
And
with
wait,
the
just to
long-
clarify though,
Okay.
my V-neck was like half a size too small. It wasn't big.
Or it wasn't a big V-neck.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
tight.
All right.
Sagging pants. Walk me through that because the long shirts was so that you could sag the drawers further. And I still see people sagging pants that looks extremely uncomfortable.
I thought the long shirt was to hide weapons.
So
Well,
I've
your
heard all kinds of reasons where it came from. Some people say it comes from prison. From people saying that when you sag your pants, you're kind of revealing to the next man how vulnerable you are to have sex with them.
What?
I've heard that from multiple people.
I've heard that
Multiple
too.
So why would
I think
why
it
would
came
people do that?
from people coming out.
and not and just like mimicking or something or
Yeah, but
not
those
knowing.
people who came out of jail, those are like, this will sound weird. Those are kind of like weird role models to urban kids.
Like
Certain
getting-
people looked up to like drug dealers. Some people looked up to people who was just bad, who got a lot of money, and this was their attire.
Right.
Yeah, this is kind of like pseudo, but I'm just like paraphrasing why I think it comes from.
Yeah.
Because that's where I got it when I used to sag when I was a young person. I used to sag.
Oh, you did? How low'd you go?
Not like some of those. Either. That's not weird. How low did
Do you have any photos?
No,
yeah.
no.
All
That's
right, we'll get those
a
after.
pass. But my grandfather didn't tolerate it.
Right.
He was
okay.
like, he was a stand-up guy. He just did not play with that. So when I went out of the house, I used to do it.
Yeah.
But then I was hanging around my friend, who's still my friend now. His name is Rob. Him like, why do you sag your pants? Like one day he was just chilling, and then he was just like, yeah, that's whack. But the way he said it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it is whack. He said, think about it, you got your cheeks
Now that I
out.
think of it,
Like, he's like, you got your,
your
cheeks
cheeks
out.
are out.
And then when he
That's what
said it,
I
I was
think.
like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this is kind of
Totally.
weird. And then I just like over the years, I think I stopped sagging, to be realistic, at the age of 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like an airflow thing because none of it made
stupid.
sense. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to walk too.
Can't run.
Yeah.
Can't do anything.
You have songs talking about you run away from the cops, but you really can't run. I know because I've seen it. Like you can't
You
run.
waddle.
Yeah. Like,
Okay. Back to the guys not having the dress code.
yeah. So we get there, and it's like a breakfast diner. We was in there literally tops 5 minutes. We
Yeah.
sat down, lady gave me the menu. She's like, what would you want? By the time I said omelet, the security guy, my manager, he was like, hey, keep an eye on this guy that came out the bathroom.
Right.
I was like, I looked at him, like, he came out the bathroom. He goes right over to this group, and he just started hitting this guy.
Just hammering him.
Yeah, and I literally threw the menu down. I was like, dude, he's like, we got to do something. I said, come on, man, we've been fighting people all night. I just want to chill.
Right.
So by the time we're sitting here just having this normal conversation while this guy's getting beat up, another guy jumps in. And then another guy jumps in. I was like, all right, we got to get over there. So we got over there. I'm trying to pull. This is like the strongest man I've ever encountered in my life.
Big dude.
This guy he was short. He had the guy in the chokehold. I could not get this guy's hands off his throat for nothing. And as I'm doing this, all I feel is something hit me in the head like this. But it's like multiple fists, but it's not Devin, it's not like a man. It's like 4 women punching me in the head. I just lose it. I lose it. I just turn some type of strength.
Hulk
and
strength.
I literally just dragging all these women out, like just bras coming off, purses, anything. Like half of them was like, I'm just pushing them out.
Why are
the
you
door.
unstrapping bras?
No, it's like it's this. No, listen.
Sometimes the Nate just
It
kicks
just
in, and the next
pulls
thing you
off.
know.
It just pulls off, and I'm just pushing them out. They're trying to throw stuff at me. I finally get them all. My other security guard, they're handling the men. So as I'm pushing them off, they take the chairs and they're throwing it at the window, like breaking it.
No way.
But as I'm watching this, there's 2 cops on the cop car, like sitting on the cop car, just watching this.
Wow.
Charlotte Mecklenburg police, just watching
nothing.
it. Guy comes out, beat up on his girlfriend. At this point, I was like, this is just crazy.
That is crazy.
And then what? So then you throw them all outside, and then what's the move? Do you run back in there, or do you just?
We stayed in there because we have to now lock the doors and stuff to prevent them coming in. But they're literally vandalizing the whole outside. And plus, we're trying to get these other 4 guys to stop fighting.
Right.
So we finally separate them. We get them outside. They're still fighting. One of the guys was one of the girls I threw out. He comes over, and it's a complete domestic violence thing where he's beating on her. They still didn't do nothing. It's like they was just watching to just like let her get it out this system.
Jeez.
That was like one of the wildest things. But
That's nuts.
Did
you eat your omelet?
nah.
Oh, it's terrible.
I didn't come home till like 5:30. And then Levin's like, what was going on? And I was just like, dude.
Didn't even get breakfast.
Yeah, like I'm like, next day, wake up next day, it's just wow. So
Back
I
at
left
it.
that job alone though then.
So people tried to get in, you would kick them out.
Mm-hmm.
People were probably sliding you $20, $30 bills to like cut the line.
Oh, yeah,
get
we make a
ahead.
lot of money out there, so.
What was the price to get ahead? Like I'm sure if someone offered you $5, you're like, no, back
Minimum
of the line.
80 with me.
$80 to get in
Yeah.
front of the line.
Yeah, because the club owner was Sporty Orty. Sporty Orty is like a famous club promoter in Charlotte. He's like one of the biggest ones. So that's who he was working for. So the people who's coming to his party, they have money.
Yeah.
They pulling up in Rolls Wraiths and
Nice.
Lamborghinis and tricked out trucks. Like, yeah, you got $100.
And the line was huge usually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got $100.
Were you told stuff like just let chicks in and a certain number of dudes? Is that?
Nah, we let them in. Of course, every place has a capacity.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been in a situation where like let more girls in than guys.
Never had. Okay.
Nah, I don't think
I
I've
wonder
been in
about
a
that.
I thought every club did that.
Yeah, I thought it was like you had to show up with women to get
That was
in.
the only way you got in, yeah.
I mean, typically clubs want more women
Yeah.
in them,
Yeah.
obviously. But I've never been in the nights I was working where it was like, yo, let's let more women in than men. Sometime during the week, they have like ladies free until a certain time.
Oh, right.
But they always equal out for
Yeah.
some reason. Thirsty dudes. And
Yeah.
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 What do you want to? You want to
I
roll
wanna-
into Christmas for a minute?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Tell us about Christmas.
Well, so
What's
let's give a
Christmas
little
for
bit.
y'all?
Let's give a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
Because Valencia works for us, and this is her husband Ivan, and we do a December 25th party. We call it now, but we used to call it Christmas until we found out that you don't necessarily celebrate Christmas and Easter.
Right.
Tell us about that.
So I think pretty much like to give a story, everyone has kept Christmas, like for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, keep Christmas. Right around when I was like 18, when I met my friend Rob, he started going to our church. I mean, he started going to church. Eventually, I come and start doing Bible study. And to skip back, we'll come back to this one topic about the Sabbath day, but it got to Christmas. And I asked him, I was like, well, what about Christmas? Is like Christmas wrong since
Right.
Sunday worship is not in the Bible? And it was like, oh, you never like knew Christmas was a pagan holiday. It never alarmed me, but when we started studying about it, like through a historical point of view, that's
Right.
very important. Like,
Right.
step out of the faith and what you feel and go to a historical point of view. It never was a Christian holiday.
Right.
It was a pagan holiday celebrated at the winter solstice. Winter solstice. And in this holiday is a very weird thing. They have 3 festivals. I think it's called Saturnalia, Vermilia, and it's another word start with N. I have an evidence book too to have the names in it. But on the last day, which is Saturnalia, which is on the 25th, guess what they do? They give gifts to their children. Sounds a little familiar, right?
Right.
But this time it's not called Christmas, it's called Christ Mass. Totally different. It's because on this day they celebrated worshiping the sun god Nimrod. And Nimrod can be seen in like the Old Testament in Genesis as like a sun god worshiper as well. So the Christians were not allowed to associate it with Romans
Right.
as far as their practices. They worship pagans, they worship the true God. However, the Christians at this point was being persecuted heavily by the Roman Empire for their beliefs. So they was like, well, basically, if y'all worship y'all God on this day, well, we're finna do it. The whole town shut down.
Right.
What are we gonna do? So Christians, out of oppression, made up a day to worship Christ on
Ah.
before it had a Christian theme. Because on this holiday, without being too graphic, they used to have orgies,
What?
regardless of social position. Men with women, women with women, men on men, men with children.
What?
Yeah, this is not like a.
What year are we talking here? Like, give me a time frame.
We're talking about like 354 AD,
Okay.
right around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to elaborate more on that, when you look back in history, when they used to have these things, there was a god called, I think the god of Yule called Odin. And Catholics and the Roman Empire, they're famous for taking other people's gods and just adding it to the line of it. That's why when you look back, they worship thousands of gods.
Right.
They looked at Jesus as just another god. So right around like 321 AD, Emperor Constantine, y'all familiar with Constantine?
Yeah.
Constantine abolished the Sabbath day and converted it to Sunday worship in respect to keep his political position of aligning with Christians. It's no other difference than what presidents do. Presidents say, I'm going to do this and do that
Yeah.
to win a certain crowd.
Right.
So to win his crowd, because Christians were more alarming rate, he just faked his baptism. How do we know he faked his baptism? It's because he never got rid of his sun god title, which was Pontifex Maximus.
You weren't ready for all this, were you?
I was not ready
Yeah.
for that.
Holy
So Pontifex
smokes.
Maximus means high priest of the sun god. So now we have a person who's basically the president who has this title and who has conformed to Christianity. But basically he told the Christians, we accept Jesus as you do, but you're going to worship him in the way that we want to
On Sunday.
on Sunday.
So now everybody does that.
Right. Because even if you have a kid in school,
Yeah.
and I think in world history, there's a chapter by Constantine, and it says that he legalized the day of worship. How does
Gotcha.
a human legalize a day of worship when the Sabbath day has been kept since the beginning of time?
Right.
That's because Sunday, sun God.
Ooh.
So I don't know if you noticed that, like the
Didn't know
names, yeah, the names.
So you're saying that if I'm understanding this right, that the Sabbath used to be a Saturday,
yeah, still is.
still is.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that
And-
correction.
Yes,
Yeah.
good correction. And then it switched to Sunday.
Yeah, it switched. It switched officially in 321 AD. That's when Constantine got rid of the Sabbath day. And anyone that was found keeping the Sabbath day was killed in something called the Inquisition.
So even though it's one day later, that was that big of a deal to him.
Yeah.
to do that.
So this one it gets in like is it really that big of a deal?
That's what I always wonder. Like, why not Monday?
So, well, to elaborate on Monday and stuff like that, the names of the weeks are named after planets. I don't know if you realize that.
No.
Saturday, Saturn. Monday is for the moon. Sundays for the sun. I think Venus is for Wednesday. Like if you go
Right.
back and look at ancient history, this is how the names of the weeks got placed. But the Catholics and the Romans worship their God on Sunday, which was the first day of the week. So they like to favor their God. The sun makes everything live. The sun everything does this. So that's to give you that.
Got it.
But in Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, it was a prophecy that said it would be someone that would come and speak against God, change his laws and decrees, and oppress his people. That's said in Daniel. So if we're Christians, we have to believe this,
Right.
right? Somewhere in history, we have to find someone that tampered with God's laws and oppresses people. There's only one organization that has done that. Not trying to offend nobody.
Yeah.
Just historically, it is the Catholic Church.
Interesting.
It's the Catholic Church.
And that dates all the way back to 300.
Yeah, because in 325 AD, they abolished the Passover. at
Now,
the
what do
Council of
the
Nicaea.
Catholics say about that?
They have nothing to say about it,
They just,
obviously.
right.
But there's actually like, now it's being funny, that was like sarcasm. But no, they have, yeah. That's why I bought the evidence book. They have openly admitted their crimes. Openly.
Really?
Yeah. There's a book called The Faith of Millions and the Faith of Our Fathers. And in the book, they explain that that you may read from Genesis to Revelation, and there is no authorization of keeping Sunday worship. For it has always been the seventh day of the week, but for Sunday, worshiping the venerable Son is our day.
Huh.
The words from the Pope.
So let's say though that Tom's son has a birthday and it's on a Thursday, but he celebrates it on a Saturday.
Yikes.
How important would that be? Do you think he should only celebrate his son's birthday on that Saturday or on the Thursday and never the Saturday? Because the Saturday is
where
more
rules
convenient.
come into play, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've never been in that situation, but let's say, Tom's in that situation.
Let's say Tom's birthday's on a Thursday,
Yeah.
but he wants to celebrate it on
Can
Friday.
we also say that does Tom believe that the Sabbath day is the real day? Can we put that?
Well, he believes that his birthday is on Thursday,
Okay.
but he wants to celebrate it on Friday
Yeah.
Or Saturday.
or Saturday.
the
Or
Sabbath.
Saturday. Okay. It's kind of like what people do.
No, Saturday's the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Sabbath.
Okay. So let's say my birthday is June 17th.
Yep, because it is.
But every year on June the 24th, you send me a text message saying happy birthday and you send me a bunch of presents, gift card.
Yep.
How disrespectful is that?
It's pretty disrespectful.
But now they switch the titles. Let's say that you're actually more than just a friend. Let's say that you was like my brother, like my real brother,
Yep.
or even my father.
Yep.
But you do this every year. It's kind of a strange thing, right? Would you purposely move the birthday to another day to your liking?
I get what you're saying.
I understand
I
that
see
too.
it.
But let's get even more cringy.
So the argument,
get
argument
cringy.
would be it's
Yeah.
not necessarily about the day; it's more believing.
Now it's the day for sure, because God said He rested on the seventh day, so the day matters. The problem is that people want to worship in their own convenience.
Yeah.
Just like I'm pretty sure that for some reason that you keep texting me on the 24th, my birthday is a convenience for you.
Right.
For some reason you keep forgetting. But what's so funny about the forgetting, out of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, the only one that He said to remember was the fourth commandment, which was remember to keep the Sabbath day. He didn't say remember not to worship no other gods. He didn't say remember not to misuse my name. He said remember to keep the Sabbath day, because He knew eventually we will forget it.
Right.
God knows the end before the beginning.
Well, all right. I got a brain buster then. What about Jesus' name is not Jesus?
Yeshua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about churches and people and Christians just using that name itself?
Like using Yeshua?
No, using Jesus.
I mean,
And praying to Jesus, it'd be like again, we listen to a podcast. He always
Yeah.
talks about it's like, well, if you called me Tim or Tammy,
yeah.
it's like I don't know who you don't. I don't know who you are.
I mean, if anyone's mad at someone worshiping the name of Jesus, they have to rethink why they're a Christian and have to rethink that should they go back and understand language, because there's no J in the Hebrew alphabet.
Well, so they talks about that. It would be, wasn't it Joshua?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who said that?
Well, that's how it got translated. Would have been translated to Joshua, not Jesus, even.
Where's the empirical data that is?
No clue.
Because I've never even heard of Jew
Instagram.
even say that.
Actually, Instagram Reels. I think.
Yeah. I actually know the religion.
I heard it on a podcast.
Well, and that's why I wonder, because it's like there's so many getting into specifics and things that make people headbutt, and I love it. Honestly, I love talking about it because I'm always open to all kinds of stuff. Like I'm open to the Earth might be flat. I'm open to because
Oh boy.
Well-
Hold on, before we get to that, I know how you go with that.
because what's the Bible say about it?
Hold on, let me get back to the name real quick.
Yeah.
So Jehovah is Yahweh in the English name. We have a J in our alphabet.
Yep.
They don't have a J. So when you go to Israel, they call him Yahweh,
Yeah.
right? But translation to Spanish, Jesus is what? Jesus.
Right.
Is anyone jumping down any Spanish people for saying like you're saying the name is wrong? That's people like
Well, here's what's weird about it though,
Uh-huh.
is like your name is Ivan in any language.
yeah,
Like it shouldn't be translated to the Russian version of Ivan.
but it's pronounced different too.
But why? Why would it be if it's your name?
I think
I think that was the argument.
Well, if there's not a J in a language, you can't pronounce it the same way.
Yeah, it's
Well, you would just say it. You would just say whatever the mixture is.
It's
Like just because
you
we
ask
don't
a Spanish
have
person how to say Ivan, they say Ivan.
yeah, but they
Ivan.
but they
like
well they may not be able to like spell it and whatever, but they should be able to still say Ivan
yeah, but
or even spell it that way. Just use
that's not just that's like what ifs. But
Right,
that's not
right,
how
right.
we don't know any other way that it has worked a different way. Some people's name don't translate to English.
Right.
Like I'm around a bunch of Korean people, and if you notice, like most Asian people that come over here, they actually have two names.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have an American name, but it's always a generic American, like
Yeah.
John,
Yes.
Paul.
Chris. You know what I'm saying? Daniel. It's
Yeah.
never nothing wild.
Yeah.
So to say like, well, why does his name just not translate? It just doesn't. It's just
Right.
nothing that in our alphabet that could allow them to
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the type of conversation I like. I could spend hours just hearing and learning about all the nuances out there of what is real, historical, what people believe now, why they believe it. Because a lot of it, they don't know why they believe it. They were just told to believe it. Like, again, growing up, it was like Santa was real till I was like 8. You know what I mean? And it was just, then it was all like, oh my God, you were lying.
And
to
all
me
those
this whole
things got origins too. Like Santa Claus, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Somebody might say, like, oh, this is wrong. I think Santa Claus was invented in the early 1900s because when America was established, they didn't have holidays. And the first holiday that they reinvented was actually Christmas, because in the 1700s, Christmas was actually outlawed in England because of the riots and the orgies and stuff like that.
Dang.
So when they actually reinvented Christmas, they came with a Christian jolly theme.
Yeah.
Then they started adding, of course, Santa Claus. Matter of fact, Santa Claus was probably created a little bit later, like probably mid 1900s.
Yeah.
And Jolly old Saint Nick's.
Yeah.
But when you go to England, he's called Rupert, and he's
Right.
like this devil-looking guy who has children with switches. And we had these conversations a lot in our church. Like
Yeah, I like
contacts.
that.
That's
Do you guys do? Yeah, do you guys do? Because I'm also into like the translations of the Bible and the different. Like, what Bible do you read?
I usually do NIV, NLT.
Does any of that matter?
I think it does in a sense. Like I notice when I go to the NLT, the wording helps you understand it better, but it might lose meaning for other people who speak different languages. That's
Gotcha.
for sure. If anyone said like different translation, it might lose its meaning.
Right.
That's a lie. I mean, that it doesn't lose its meaning. That's a lie.
Right.
Because God's original name was Elohim.
His original name?
Yeah, God's original name is Elohim.
Holy cow.
Whoa, that was
I
a
wasn't
whole
ready
can
for
of
And
worms.
Elohim,
I thought it was
Elo means God. Him meaning more than one, plural. Meaning gods, more than one God. But that's a whole nother topic.
That's,
We need to
yeah,
do a whole
we're gonna have to
nother
cut this
topic,
off
yeah.
here, but
But that's
that's
but
intense.
talk. I mean, paint. I mean,
we're gonna be
talking
thinking.
paint.
We talked bouncing and fighting.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. Maybe you invite me back. We can talk.
Go
We do
straight
a whole
into that.
episode
We gotta
on it.
wrap our head around that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. So
how do people find you?
Yeah, omni26.com. I know. What about your Instagram and
It's called
Twitter? and all that?
Omni26_finish.
At
There's no at. I mean, we're at in the beginning.
on Instagram and
Yeah,
Facebook and all
Instagram.
those ones.
Instagram.
Yeah. And if someone wants to get a hold of you, if they want to hire you for a job, what does that look like? You want them Instagram or email or
You
what?
can Instagram me. You can direct message me on there. Email. The email. Everything is set up on the Instagram for you to contact me directly.
Perfect.
And the website.
Love it.
My number is 704-923-6428.
Yes.
Cell phone?
Personal
Yeah.
cell phone. Wow. Love that.
Good.
Direct call to the owner.
And he's married. We got to make sure everybody knows. He's
Yeah.
married.
Make that clear.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, we haven't had no strange situations.
All right. Well, we appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Thank
being
you.
on.
Everyone,
Thank
go
you so
check them
much.
out. Here. We're here for the health of it.
For the health of it.